Because I don't think he's done it at the top level, winning trophies in a team like this, and because I don't think he's done it at the top. Because I don't think he's done it at the top.
5 things we learned against Burnley. 1. He is world class. The way Saka has been playing in the last couple of games, you can tell that he's been watching some Rio Ferdinand videos. The starboy was absolutely amazing against Burnley. He was direct, intense and ruthless in the box. One element of his game that I think is underrated is his defensive qualities. The amount of work he puts in to support Ben White in his defensive duties is to be admired. A stat comparison came out this week comparing him to Cristiano Ronaldo at the same stage of their careers, and they were on par. Saka was slightly ahead. Now Bukayo Saka is not better than Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, but to suggest that he is not world class is absolutely ludicrous. What top club wouldn't jump at a chance to sign Saka? He keeps developing his game in every season. Most young players in his position would be satisfied with his current standing, but he keeps wanting more. His mentality is elite. He is well on his way to become one of the top 5 players in world football, and we are lucky to have him. 2. Amazing defensive solidarity. Since the turn of the new year, Arsenal have only conceded 2 goals in 5 games played. The excitement of scoring 21 goals in the same period has probably overshadowed our impressive defensive capabilities. We concede very few chances, and if you limit your opponents to 1 or 2 chances per game, you put yourself in a very strong position to win most of your games. We limited a very formidable free-scoring Liverpool to an XG of 0.41, and this was largely due to the partnership of Gabriel and Saliba. These two have been on a different level this season and have firmly put themselves in conversations of being the best centre-back partnership in the league. We have always known that Saliba would be a great centre-back, but the improvement of Gabriel deserves more praise. He has easily been our best defender in the last 18 months. Their best quality is that they defend as a unit. You could tell that in this game Gabriel was tasked to deal with Fofana, and when the striker switched sides to attack on our right side, Gabriel followed him there and Saliba was able to mop up after him. That's the type of teamwork that wins you titles. Another player that deserves a special mention is Jakub Kiwior. The Pole has put in great performances in the absence of Zinchenko. He is different to Zina and offers different qualities like power, height and more defensive security. In my opinion, Zinchenko should not come back straight in. He should have to fight for his position. 3. Our Norwegian maestro has found his groove. Most of our problems in the start of the season stemmed from our lack of fluidity in the midfield. I think all of us can agree that our best midfield combination is Partey, Rice and Odegaard. But with Partey missing for most of the season, we have been forced to find new solutions. We've tried different combinations with Havertz, Vieira and even Trossard in that left 8 position, but the balance was always a little off. We had to adapt. Martin Odegaard was a big catalyst for our newly found solidity. His role in the midfield has changed. He starts building from deeper. This allows him to dictate the tempo of the game, which ultimately means our transitions are smoother and more precise. Declan Rice is an amazing defensive midfielder, but he does not possess the same level of ball progression as Thomas Partey does. So to make up for this shortcoming, Mikel tasked Odegaard to start building from deeper, and it has worked massively. The Norwegian has been immaculate since the start of the year. He put in another man of the match performance against Burnley, and he has found his scoring touch again. We will need him to be at his absolute best if we are going to mount a sustained challenge for the Premier League and Champions League. Having an offensive midfielder that instills fear in opponents is a massive weapon to have, especially when he is anchored by a powerhouse like Rice or Partey. 4. The goals are flowing again. 21 goals in 5 matches, 9 different goal scorers. It's clear to see that the Gunners have found their scoring boots. During that tough spell in December, we were seriously struggling in front of goal. The only positive was that we were creating the chances, we just weren't putting them away. So naturally, when the transfer window opened in January, most of us felt that we needed a striker that can capitalize on the chances we were creating. The January window is difficult to navigate, but this one was even more tricky. For some reason, the deals were just not forthcoming, not just for Arsenal but for all the clubs in the Premier League. So signing a top-level striker was ultimately impossible. We had to find a solution. It turns out our squad just needed a rest to fill up their tanks. After we returned from the warm weather training in Dubai, we have been firing on all cylinders. One thing that has been working for us is that the goals are being shared around the squad, and we are not only relying on 1 or 2 players to get the goals. This quality may serve us well in the long term when injuries and loss of form hits our squad. 5. Arteta learning from his mistakes. Mikel has been heavily criticized for failing to utilize his squad fully, delaying to make subs and not resting key players when the game is already won. In the game against Burnley, he fully addressed these shortcomings. When he felt that the game was out of sight for Burnley, he started to make substitutions in order to rest key members of the squad. Players like Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Trossard and Ben White were all given a breather ahead of a tough away trip to Portugal in the Champions League. I see this as a huge improvement that keeps our squad fresh and a great strategy to avoid unnecessary injuries to our key players. Another stick that has been used to beat Arteta is that he doesn't give youth a chance. That was also swiftly put to bed last weekend when he introduced a 16-year-old Ethan Nwaneri with about 15 minutes left in the game. All these shortcomings that have been labelled against him are all weaknesses that can be expected when you hire a novice manager. It takes time to get things right, and our manager is getting them right at the moment.